It says it right there on the graphic. Since 2008, Citadel Gray Line has been delivering a weekly dose of all things Bulldogs and all things Military College of Southern Carolina. John Rawl back with you for another 30 minutes or so of conversation about El Cid. And it's always great to have you join us. If you want to find us and follow us, please do that on Facebook. We are at Facebook. Just look up Citadel Gray Line. We're right there. Just had a couple of new followers this week. Had to literally hold somebody's hand and show them how to do it. But we got them, and I hope they're tuned in right now. If you are, salute. But we are going to discuss Citadel football primarily. We're also going to talk about anything going on in the athletic department and anything else going on at 171 Moultrie Street in Charleston, SC. We have great partners that help us do this show each and every week. Our title sponsor, you see it right across there, IPS Packaging and Automation. I'm going to tell you more about them in a second. But also want to let you know that this show is built in part by Hood Construction. Hood Construction, based in Columbia, has been at the business for decades. I think 1977, was the year they got started, and they built it the right way for 39 years. I guess 77 would be 39 years. And they're a full-service construction management company with all these years in business, serving clients throughout South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. Hood Construction takes a holistic approach to their clients' business and project objectives in order to find the best value solutions. Go to hoodconstruction.com right now and look at the featured projects they've got going on, including the Gateway 737 Idea Center in Columbia. That's one of the many things they've got going on in the Palmetto State. Hoodconstruction.com. We appreciate their great help here on Citadel Gray Line. One of the key components of this show each and every week is a Hood Construction employee, one Thomas Scruggs, and he's so busy at Hood Construction today that he's not able to join us. We got Andrew Miller standing by. Andrew, as we welcome you in here on the show, you know what week it is in Citadel world, don't you?
I do. It's the Military Classic of the South at Johnson Hagood Stadium, man. The Silver Shako.
There you go. And I've got my own Shako right here. Although, Andrew, I had to buy this thing. When I was an idiot 20-year-old graduating from El Cid, I sold my Shako for $20. And I should not have done that because I didn't realize until much later, these things look pretty good up on the shelf, Since I didn't play football, I don't have a football helmet to go back on the shelf. And I've not had a Shako since a few years ago when I graduated. And I had to go online and I bought this recently. It's the same, I had to look it up. It's the same manufacturer that made the Shako when I was back there. But these are pretty cool. You don't appreciate it at the time, but now that I've gotten a little older, Andrew, this is a nice little addition that I've got to the man cave, if you will. Where's your Shako?
I do not have a Shako. They didn't hand those out at graduation at the University of South Carolina.
But they should have. Yeah, they make nice fixtures in the home. That is a trophy up for grabs this week. We're going to talk about it. VMI comes to town, 2:00 kickoff at JHS. But Andrew, we also have to talk about what happened last weekend. A game that Citadel, going into it, most people thought, they ought to be able to win this game. And they didn't. They lost by 10, 24-14 to those nasty Furman Paladins.
Yeah, Purple makes Maurice Drayton puke. It made him puke all during the week and made him puke on Saturday. It was, I felt like that after the way the Citadel had played against Western Carolina, I thought they'd kind of figured it out as far as getting off to a quick start, playing pretty good at the end of the game. The middle eight was what kind of tripped them up against Western Carolina, but the offense just seemed to take two huge steps forward, I thought, in my opinion. Now, Western Carolina didn't have a great defense, but still, able to put up, 30-plus points on them. I really felt like that they were going to go into Greenville, Paladin Stadium and get the win, especially after what Furman did. After what Western Carolina did to Furman. They beat them 52-7. And I didn't think the game was going to be honestly close. If you told me the score was 24-14 after the game, I would assume that it would have been the Citadel that had won 24-14. But really, really slow start offensively from the Bulldogs. They just couldn't get over the hump in that first half. They couldn't sustain any drives. They couldn't pick up any first downs. I thought the defense played pretty well. They, limited them to 3 field goals to start the first half, and I thought they were set and good to go. In the third quarter, they come out and they throw back-to-back bombs. They get a 14-9 lead. I thought they were just going to run away with it from there. But give Furman credit. They faced that. They weathered that storm. They faced that adversity. They came back down. They got a touchdown, and then kind of went from there. So, yeah, just a really disappointing loss for the Citadel after the way they had kind of incrementally shown improvement. I thought from week to week, and I really thought that last Saturday was going to kind of be the culmination of that. But got to wait another week, and there are no excuses for this game. No excuses at all. They got to go in there and they got to get a W against VMI. There's no question about it. VMI is just reeling right now. They got beat by 60-something points, 62 points by Mercer. I think Mercer had 800 yards of total offense. I mean, it was just a mauling. And Citadel better be ready to play on Saturday because it's going to be a very angry Keydets team coming into Johnson Hagood Stadium.
And hungry for a SoCon win, those Keydets. And they play hard. They play their guts out. They bring their cadets, or should I say Keydets, down from Lexington. And in many ways, I hate to say it, they outshine the Citadel on this Silver Shako game as far as the way their student body, cadet student body, whatever you want to call it, gets into it. They don't go lollygagging all game long. They're focused. They're locked in. And their football team's been locked in a lot when they've come to Charleston for this rivalry game. Citadel should win. We'll talk about that one more in a second. I'm still concerned, Andrew, why did the Citadel, and Maurice Drayton address some of this, why did the Citadel let up their foot off the gas against Furman?
Yeah, I don't know. And you're right. I think that when they got up 14-9, they felt like that they were like me. They were like, okay, the momentum has changed. They're going to run away with this game. And, I've talked about it, and people always laugh when I say it. You got to learn how to win. Well, that's one of the kind of steps you need to take when you have a team down. You got to step on their neck and cut their head off. And the Citadel, unfortunately, did not do that against Furman, and had every opportunity to do that and just couldn't get it done. And one of the strange things that happened, in my opinion, is they've been such a really good, disciplined team as far as picking up penalties, one of the best in FCS in the country. I think they came to the game second or third overall with 3 penalties per game. And then they pick up 10 up there in Furman. Now, Maurice Drayton, sending some tape to the officiating crews up in the Southern Conference in the office up there in Spartanburg, and he felt like there were 5 calls that went against him that shouldn't have gone against him. But those are kind of holding calls, combatant calls is what he calls them. And there were some holding calls there that he didn't think were holding calls. But yeah, that hurt him as well too on a couple of drives in the second half. And
the Citadel really struggled early, but found a way to, like you said, get on top with the scoreboard, 14-9, and that was due in part to some aerial attacks from the Citadel quarterback and receiver.
Yeah, and I asked him after the game, and he brought it up in the presser on Monday. I said, why didn't you throw the ball more in the first half? He goes, well, because we couldn't protect in the first half. We changed some of our protection schemes at halftime, showed him a couple of different looks. Got the cornerback looking in the backfield a couple of times, and then Quentin Hayes, who's really not known for his deep ball. He's got a decent arm. He doesn't have what I would call a great arm, but threw 2 really, really nice balls to Heed Marks. And what was kind of ironic or strange or funny, whatever you want to call it, both of them were 46-yard touchdown passes. Seemed like it was the exact same play, but just run out of 2 different formations, and they were successful both those times. So you got to give the offensive line credit for giving Quentin Hayes that time, and then for those for Marks and Hayes to hook up on those 2 plays. But yeah, really nice sequence there, and just couldn't build on anything from that after that.
Last week's Citadel Gray Line, we had Dave Salazzo on. We talked a lot of defense, and if you missed that, please go to our archives. You can find that at Citadel Gray Line on Facebook. We have our Facebook page. That's still available. Although Facebook's changing the rules, and they don't leave videos up for more than a couple of weeks. So we also put every show on YouTube. We have a really cool YouTube page that's got hundreds of Citadel Gray Line episodes you can go and watch, and I'm sure you will. But you can really research Citadel defense by tuning in last week's show. This week's show, Andrew, I want to ask about offense because that formation the Citadel scored that touchdown on, the 46-yarder, I think it was the first one, was a really weird formation that one of the reporters in Charleston called out by name this week, a name that I can't remember. But what was that all about? Because I think they tried that late in the game and it didn't work out so good that time.
Yeah, he called it the Lennox formation, which I'd never heard of. I'd never heard it called like that. I've seen variations of that. Several teams have run it. Steve Spurrier used to run something a little bit similar every once in a while. He'd split out a couple of offensive linemen wide to the field, and then put a running back or a wide receiver behind him, and that's what he did with this time. And what they were hoping to do, Maurice Drayton told me, was that they were hoping that they would get the cornerback looking into the backfield or anticipating some kind of wide receiver screen. So he'd step up, and instead of instead of trying to play for the deep ball and not having a safety over the top to kind of protect him, and got man-to-man coverage both times, and just made the plays. Quentin Hayes, Jihad Marks, both times, 46 yards, touchdowns each time. And one of the things I don't know people understand is one of the reasons that guys go in motion, that you have a wide receiver or a running back go in motion, is to tell the quarterback that it's going to be man-to-man coverage or zone coverage. And if you get a guy that's following that running back or that wide receiver going in motion, tight end could be, if you have a guy following him, then pretty much it's going to be man-to-man across the board. Now, there could be some zone variations defensively there, but most of the time it means you're in man. And both times they were in man coverage, and both times Jahid Marks, because he got good speed, got behind their cornerbacks and touchdown.
That's some complicated stuff, Andrew. I didn't realize football was so challenging on the mind.
It is really a thinking man's game, and that's why they studied all the film and all this variation of it on film. One of the interesting things that I asked one of the assistant coaches at the Citadel about, and this is going back to the Western Carolina game, but that the fake punt that Western Carolina ran, and I asked him, was that a scheme thing? Was that a busted assignment thing? What happened there? And what happened was that Tony Coastman, who's the special teams coach, who does a fantastic job with them, he just guessed wrong. I mean, he had a block on that was going to rush from the other side, and Western Carolina called the fake to the other boundary. And sometimes you just get outguessed, and it's like if you run an all-out blitz and they throw a screen, that's the perfect call against the defense that you called. There's always going to be a weakness somewhere in the defense, and they just found it on that particular play. And it was really interesting to talk to about, because he didn't throw anybody on the bus. He said, hey, I made a call, and they made the other call, and that was the perfect call to make against the defense that I ran. So sometimes you just got to tip your hat to the other team. Say, hey, that coach gets paid too. He gets paid to watch film too, so they see it. So, yeah.
I'm sure you'll remember this play from roughly 10 years ago in the NFL, but when I saw that Lennox formation line up, I couldn't help but think of that crazy Indianapolis Colts. I think it was a punt that was the worst call ever, I think. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do not. But, it's a weird formation, obviously, with that many offensive linemen, that are split out. And a lot of times when you see that formation, you'll see the linemen come back, to the line of scrimmage and line up like a quote-unquote normal formation. But, there are times when they don't do it. And he's got a couple of different plays that I've seen in practice that he can run off of that formation, a couple of different things that he can do. And I'm waiting to see this one. And if he ever does it, I will talk about it the week after that, because I don't want to blow the play. But he's got a really good and I'm talking about Maurice Drayton and Lamar Owens, the offensive coordinator there. They have a very good variation on that play that I think could result in a touchdown.
Looking forward to that. Shout out Indianapolis Colts. They're having a heck of a year this year in the NFL. Hey, shout out to IPS Packaging and Automation. They've been cheering on the Bulldogs on and off the field for decades. A family-owned, Citadel-led operation that's been a titan in the packaging industry for all these years. And they stand tall as a leader in packaging products, automation equipment, and top-notch service. IPS Packaging and Automation plays a crucial role in the packaging processes of countless businesses and manufacturing facilities all over the United States. And a fun fact for Citadel fans, this company based in the upstate has been a proud sponsor of Citadel Bulldog Athletics for many, many years. Discover what IPS Packaging and Automation can do for you. Go to the website ipack.com or call them at 800-277-7007. IPS Packaging and Automation is a proud supporter of Citadel Athletics, and we sure appreciate everything that IPS does for us. Now, some fun before we get out of here on this week's show. We've got Knob Knowledge. We've got a winner from last week's Knob Knowledge to first tell you about. So we want to ask or re-ask last week's Knob Knowledge question. Oops, that's the wrong graphic. That's the graphic I'm looking for. You know, sometimes you make mistakes, Andrew. Call a penalty on me. I'll back it up 5 yards. The question from last week's Knob Knowledge question presented by SeniorPrivate.com was, who was the acting president in between General Summerall and Clark? This is in the 1953 and 54 years. Who was the acting president of the Citadel who at that time said of himself, I was a phony colonel sandwiched between 2 4-star generals? And a fun fact about last week's Knob Knowledge question, a building on the Citadel campus is named for him. And the winner got a nice Senior Private Shop Citadel Sports Team 4-pack sticker bundle. The answer to last week's Knob Knowledge question is Letellier. Colonel Louis Shepard Letellier, or Letellier, and I do believe that's where the athletic teams are based, right? Or the football team?
I do not. I thought they were in Seegers Hall, but I don't know.
Okay, sorry.
Cygnus.
Yeah, I need to brush up on my own Knob Knowledge. But Letellier Hall, obviously a building I didn't spend a lot of time in, or I would know the answer. That is the answer, and we want to congratulate our winner from this last week, Walt Fletcher, from the Citadel class of 1994, successfully gave us the answer to that question for last week. Now, we've got a question from SeniorPrivate.com that's more football related, and you know, we talk about all of the goodies that Senior Private has to offer. I brought some of the goodies that I have on hand from Senior Private. Look at this, really cool big red patch that they have. A Citadel Country Club patch. You can put that on your biker jacket, Andrew. How about this sticker? I love this one. I love the logo, and I think I'm a member of the Old Corps. Citadel Old Corps sticker from Senior Private Shop. There's a Citadel Country Club sticker there. And I love this, the guide-on flag for whatever company you choose. And for me, it's Maurice Drayton's company. It's Company D. Yeehaw. So those are some of the really cool goodies that Senior Private Shop has to offer. So the Knob Knowledge question for this week, and if you can successfully be the first person to text the answer to us at that number right there, 843-779-8496, well, you'll get Senior Private Shop goodies as well, just like Walt Fletcher, class of 94, was able to pick up last week. The question is, which Citadel alumnus from the Citadel class of 1967 went on to be the head coach of the VMI Keydets from 1999 to 2005? A Citadel man and former football player would ultimately become the Keydets head coach from 1999 to 2005. If you know the answer, text me right now, 843-779-8496, and we'll get you some good goodies from Senior Private Shop headed your way. Something tells me, Andrew, you probably know that answer.
I actually do not.
Oh.
That was a little bit after my time of covering them, and then before I got back on the beat. So yeah, okay. I'm not 100% sure who that is.
Well, you need to learn that answer when we give it away, because you know this fun fact. This alumnus, according to Wikipedia, you know Wikipedia is always right. This alumnus lives in a place called Isle of Palms.
Yeah, I should know who it is then. You're right.
And you might run into him down at the local Piggly Wiggly, but y'all don't have those anymore, do you?
I don't think there's a Piggly Wiggly in the Charleston area.
There used to be tons.
Oh yeah, there used to be one right out there on the IOP connector.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that's a Harris Teeter.
Shame, shame. Luckily, for those who are nostalgic about the South, we still have Piggly Wigglies in other sections of the South. Unfortunately, Charleston and the Low Country and most of the other areas have lost their hoggly wogglies, but we'll try to get them back. All right, speaking of the Keydets, they come to town this week. They are struggling. Andrew, what does the Citadel Bulldog football team need to do to pick up the W this week?
Well, I think they need to pay attention to themselves and not the other team. That's
Okay.
number one. I think this is all about the Citadel and what Maurice Drayton has been building over these last 3 years. They got to get off to a quick start, which they didn't do against Western Carolina. They got to play well in the middle eight. And I think if they do those two things, I think by the end of he talks about finishing though, but I don't think at that point you'll need to finish. I mean, you want to finish strong, but I think the lead will be too big. Hopefully, going into the fourth quarter, they won't have to worry about finishing strong. But they gotta, they can't turn the ball over, which they really haven't done very much this entire season. They gotta force a couple of turnovers, and they got to establish a running game. Now, VMI is going to be prepared for the option, so I think they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit more and maybe throw the ball a little bit more on early downs, which I know that Lamar owns the offensive coordinator and Maurice Drayton aren't particularly fond of, but I think that we're going to see a few more balls earlier in the air. And I think Quentin Hayes is going to start at quarterback. I think he earned the starting quarterback's spot this week after his performance against Furman. Not to say that Kobe Tompkins isn't playing well. I think he's playing fine. I just think that Quentin Hayes gives them a little bit better chance to win this week.
Okay. And, the VMI Keydets, give them credit. They actually won the Southern Conference just a handful of years ago. I think it was in that crazy spring edition of Citadel SoCon football. I mean, this is a team that's not the world's worst team, every year. They've had a hard time here lately. Do we know if they're going to be more run or pass?
No, they're going to be what they have been the last couple of seasons. They're relatively balanced, but they don't really have a feature running back like they had that first year with Rocco as their head coach. So I think we're going to probably see a little bit more passing than running with this team. But yeah, you got to be ready for whatever they're going to give you, and he likes to spread the field out and make guys make plays in space. So again, tackling in space, which was really a key for the Bulldogs against Western Carolina, that they did a decent job of, not super well, but that's going to be another key for them coming into this game on Saturday, tackling in space and making sure they get the ball carrier, whoever that may be, on the ground as quickly as they can, which I know sounds stupid, and that's what you want every week, but it's going to be important this week as well.
All right. Silver Shako up for grabs, and the Citadel with a chance to keep that thing nestled in the 8-4-3, and we certainly wish them all the best on that. How's the Citadel looking from a injury standpoint, Andrew?
Well, they're looking pretty good. They've got Corey Ibrahim is the guy who's out, the leading rusher from last year. He's actually listed as a starter against VMI, so he could get sounds like he's going to get his first start of the season against VMI, so that's good. Overall, there's some nicks and bumps and bruises like there are at any time this year, but I don't think any key player is out because of injuries. But I'm going to go to practice today, and I'll find out more then.
All right. One of the moments I did want to ask you about, because we don't talk about these guys enough, special teams. I noticed in the game with Furman, the Citadel didn't hesitate when they had maybe about a 45-yard field goal. They brought out the kicker. And I think that Coach Drayton would not have done that if he didn't have pretty good confidence in him. Unfortunately, his kick went so far left, I think they found it somewhere in Simpsonville. What's the latest on the kicking and punting game? I know our punter's pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah, James Platt, an All-American punter returning, a guy who got offered a ton of money to go to a Power 4 program in the ACC. So, yeah, he's just fine. He's probably not punting as well this year as he did last year, but still having some really nice some games here and there. Ben Barnes is the place kicker for the Bulldogs. I've seen him hit from 50 yards pretty consistently in practice and during pre-games. He had the leg, he just didn't have the accuracy. And if he had if he was kicking 50 yarders and kicking them accurately all the time, he'd probably be at a Power 4 place as well.
I see. Well, I love that we have a great punter, but it's usually not a good sign when one of your best players is a punter.
No doubt.
But oh well, we'll take whatever we can get. Citadel could still turn around. Unfortunately, with the loss to Furman, they're kind of trending on the downside. I think what are they 3-5 right now overall? 3-5. Or, sorry, 2-3. I think in SoCon play. So we this is a key win if they want to have one of those trophies in the cabinet for sure. Is this week when the Keydets roll into Hagood Avenue. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is one of the great companies that helps us bring Citadel Gray Line to you each week. A full-service plumbing, gas, drain, and sewer company located in Columbia. You know, Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, they've got expert service available Monday through Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. If you go to the website Franklin Plumbing SC, as in South Carolina, or South Congaree, your choice. If you go there right now, they've got a $250 off sewer replacement that you can find at Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Citadel led, do a great job. Call them up if you'd like to call them and talk to them about their service. 803-761-0167, Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Appreciate everything they do for us here on the Gray Line. We have a comment that's come in on our Citadel Gray Line Facebook feed that I want to share with everybody. Breaking news, Andrew. There is according to our number one viewer, there is a Piggly Wiggly on Savannah Highway near 526. I guess where Mark Clark dumps out on Savannah Highway.
Well, I don't get over to West Ashley very often, so that does not. I thought there was another Piggly Wiggly still left in town as well. It's like independently owned or something. I think that was my recollection of that.
Shame on you. I mean, are you telling us here? Are you one of those Charleston snobs that are too good to travel to West Ashley and shop? Is that what you're saying?
I've lived in Mount Pleasant since '89. So what is that? That's 37 years. What is that? Yeah, 36 years. So just getting to West Ashley and battling all that traffic is not something on my to-do list every day. But yeah, I get over there sometimes, but just not as often as I did back in the past when we were when I had to go into the office every day in downtown Charleston.
Man.
And when I was covering high schools. Now, when I covered high schools, I'd go there all the time.
You've got some real world problems going on, Andrew. I don't know. I feel sorry for you. Hey, this is a problem I've got. I don't live in Charleston. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I can't afford it. I live just a little west of West Ashley. I get crazy stuff. I guess you do too on your cell phone from time to time when I'm goofing off. And I've seen this pop up twice. I think it's fake news, but I'm going to ask you because you ought to know. And even if this is fake news, you probably have an opinion on it. I have seen twice, and not from the Post and Courier, but some other outlet has reported that Tim Tebow, do you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
Oh, is this true?
Well, go ahead. Just tell me what you're going to say, and then I will.
Something about Tim Tebow, John Elway, and others are trying to build a stadium in Charleston?
Yeah, that's yes. That is actually we have reported that in our business section. They are looking to invest in a stadium, and one of the options is the Charleston Battery Soccer Club. That sounds like that's where this is headed. But they're just looking to do that. There's no deal between the club and them. They've started a similar project down in Jacksonville, and they were looking at other cities where they can also do that. So yeah, that's certainly that's not a rumor. I just don't know of the connection between the Battery and that group, the Elway Tebow-led group. But they already own a couple of hockey teams that play in the ECHL. That's what the Stingrays. They play in the ECHL, and the Jacksonville team plays in the ECHL. So I mean, this is something that it could happen. I don't know if it will happen.
Well, what caught my eye was they're looking at building a roughly 30,000 seat stadium.
That would be huge, and I don't know that would get used.
Well, I'm not opposed to the Citadel ultimately maybe moving out of Johnson Hagood Stadium. I mean, I know that sounds crazy to admit, but I mean, for one thing, that area floods, and it's just it was a graveyard. Maybe it's haunted. I mean, you got to be open-minded. So if the Citadel could move into a 30,000 seat stadium one day, and all of Charleston would get behind them, I mean, I think that's something to look at.
Absolutely, no question about it. I mean, I wrote a story, I don't know, 8-9 years ago about the College of Charleston, and they were going to use the port facility where all those BMWs are unloaded down on the Cooper River, and that is state-owned land. And the college was like, okay, we can buy that land and build a football stadium there. And I think with the backdrop of the river and then the backdrop of the Ravenel Bridge, that would just be an absolutely beautiful place to play. If they were going to start, if the College of Charleston was going to have a football team.
Well, that's what scares me. I want to beat the college to this possibility, because the last thing the Citadel, in my opinion, needs is the College of Charleston playing football like they did 100 years ago.
No, they will not be. The current administration and the current athletic director there, Matt Roberts, they do not want football. I can tell you that right now.
Okay.
They want to put all their money into basketball, and they're going to have a very good basketball team this year.
Speaking of them, is there discussion about them leaving the CAA, which is what they're in now, which is not exactly what they signed up for when they first joined?
No, it wasn't. They thought it was the old CAA that had Richmond and Old Dominion and George Mason and those teams. VCU, Virginia Commonwealth, was in that league as well. They all left, and my personal opinion is that the College of Charleston will move up to the A10 in the next 5 years.
Are they worthy of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was thinking you're going to say that.
As long as they have the current president, the current athletic director, and somebody like Chris Mack. I don't know how long Chris Mack will stay here. Coach at Louisville, coach at Xavier. But yeah, I could definitely see them. I could see them becoming a Gonzaga of the East. And that's not. And people always scoff when I say that, but they had the resources to do that.
I was thinking they ought to come crawling back to the Southern Conference, but whatever. I guess they're too good. They want to play all those Yankee schools. That's why they joined it. They wanted to play Boston University and whoever else is up there. Yeah,
well, a lot of their students come from out of state. So yeah, one of the things, a story that I wrote about was how when they would go play Northeastern in Boston and they'd go play Hofstra in New York City, how they would host kind of events to attract students from those areas to come down and go to the College of Charleston, and they actively did that. So yeah, so that them going to the CAA made sense to me in that regard, that they wanted to get more out-of-state students there.
Andrew, I'm only kidding, but I think we've reached our limit on people from up north coming to South Carolina. I think we reached that limit back in the 80s. So you qualify. You meet you're going to be okay. What's going on with Citadel basketball? Speaking of hoops, they are inching closer to the start of their season.
Yeah, Monday night, they hoping to end the nation's longest losing streak at 22 games. They play Erskine. I think they've got a great chance to end it there. They did a story that came out in today's paper on Christian Moore, who entered the NCAA transfer portal back in April, and then 2 weeks later said, nope, I'm coming back to the Citadel, and they have him, Solo out of BC, as a Wally. Keenan Davis is back after missing the second half of last year. Dante Curse. So they've got like a nucleus of players that have been in the program for a couple of years. Plus, they added some Division II guys. Logan Applegate is a guy who scored well over 1,000 points in his career. Great three-point shooter. Simeon German is a big kid that they brought in. He's 6'10", so they got a little bit of a post presence now. I think they're going to be deeper and better than they were a year ago, and hopefully they can win some more games.
Okay, Erskine, it's this Monday, and this is a real game because I've noticed on TV they've had these big sellout type crowds, and it's an exhibition game.
Nope, it is McAllister Fieldhouse. It's the opening game of the season.
All right, and the Citadel just after that travels up. Speaking of Beantown, they've got another date against the Eagles of BC. A nice little rivalry going on between the Citadel and BC. It sounds like.
It is, and then obviously Earl Grant, the old CFC coach, who also coached at the Citadel as an assistant coach under Pat Dennis. He was good enough to schedule a home and home with the Bulldogs. So you got to tip your hat to Earl Grant, not forgetting former Stahl High School star too, not forgetting his roots here in the Low Country.
And Stahl, rest in peace, right? That doesn't exist anymore.
No, it's still it's a school.
Okay, Middleton is what I'm thinking of.
Middleton and St. Andrews, yes, they merged to become West Ashley High School.
Okay. Sorry, like I said, I'm not one of those Charlestonians. I wish I was. I want that accent. I literally sometimes watch old YouTube videos of Ernest Hollings and Arthur Ravenel to try to get that dialect down, and one of these days I might get it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Citadel baseball. They had their fall scrimmage. I think they were supposed to play Coastal Carolina.
But I didn't get a result from that. I know Russell Triplett. I talked to him about a week ago, and very upbeat, very optimistic about what they've got coming back. They think they've added a couple of transfer pitchers who should be able to come in and contribute right away and really kind of sew things up there on the bump for them. So yeah, very optimistic. He thinks they'll be a little bit better than they were last year. So that's good news because last weekend of the regular season, they had a chance to win the Southern Conference regular season title. So they were right there in the mix, and I don't see that changing for this year.
That was exciting. I actually tuned in the Citadel radio play-by-play of that just to see if they could get it across, and unfortunately it just didn't work out. But excited about what's going on with the Bulldog Diamond Dogs. And best of luck. Anything else athletics-wise from you?
Nope, not this week. Just focused on the Keydets.
All right. Well, we'll be right back here next week to talk about it. Citadel and VMI, 2 o'clock, Johnson Hagood Stadium. It's the Military Classic of the South. Now, next week when we talk about it, Andrew, I don't think you're going to be able to get on the PNC jet and get out here, but you ought to. I'm trying to pull this off. I think I'll be able to. We're going to broadcast on location, and I'm going to try to do it at the Grove. If not, I'll do it somewhere either on the campus of the University of Mississippi or in Oxford, a place I know a little bit about. But I'm hoping to do some cool stuff, and Thomas was supposed to be here with me, but unfortunately, I think he's going to have to work and not be able to be on location in Oxford. But it's next week, the Citadel and the number 7 team, I think, in the country. This week, Ole Miss get together at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. And so in order to get everybody ready for that one, we're going to do a on location in Oxford. And if nothing else, maybe the Oxford CVB, the good folks there right off the square, will help me out with a pretty cool setup. I need to go by there and talk to them. Anyway, we're going to try to do something kind of cool and represent the Citadel on next Wednesday. This Wednesday in Oxford, they also have another special celebrity hanging out there. It's not Citadel Greyline. Today, they got Vice President J.D. Vance and Erica Kirk making her first appearance since her husband's memorial. They've got a big rally on the campus. Next Wednesday, it's going to be Citadel Greyline taking over. So take that, Rebels. All right, Andrew, looking forward to it. Again, if you want to reach out with Andrew and see his great work, it's at postandcourier.com. Pick up a copy of the Post and Courier in the Charleston area and beyond. And don't forget, you can find him on social media, APMiller_P&C. And then you can always text us here during the week. We're still looking for that Knob Knowledge answer, 843-779-8496. We're looking for guests. I will close with this. So one of the legends in Citadel world, I don't want to jinx it. I won't call this person's name out. I was told, hey, you need to get this person on. I was able to reach this person this week, and they couldn't come on today. But this person has pledged that they would come on our last show of the year, which will be like around Thanksgiving. Andrew, this person has grandchildren. I just let the cat out of the bag. This person's got 2 grandsons that are currently cadets. The problem is one is a Citadel cadet and the twin, the sibling, is a cadet at VMI. So that's kind of a cool twist to this weekend, having twins that one's a Citadel cadet and one's a VMI cadet.
Yeah. That's that is very interesting, irony there. No doubt about that.
Yeah. So hopefully this person will come on because that'll be a lot of fun, but we're going to have to wait a couple of weeks for that. Andrew, you have yourself a very good week, and we look forward to your coverage of this Silver Shako battle.
See you next week, John. Yep.
Yes.
I hope everybody has a great weekend.
We'll have a toddy waiting on you at the Grove. And thank y'all again for being on with us here. Until next week, thank you for tuning in. Citadel Gray Line. Don't forget, we're on Facebook, Citadel Gray Line. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts if you want to listen to the audio podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple iTunes, and so many other places. Check us out, Citadel Gray Line. Thank you for tuning in.